Hi, welcome to the THD weekly update for the week of November the 12th, 2012. I will talk about the S&P 500, Nasdaq, and the Dow. On the S&P 500 monthly, weekly, and daily charts, I will highlight here on the screen the three charts all together. Personally, I prefer to have the monthly on the far left, the weekly on the middle, on the daily on the right hand side. So in one glance, I can understand what the market is going. For you who are new to THD, I will explain my interpretation of the charts. On the monthly chart, which is the chart on the far left, you can see the bar is forming. This blue bar right here is beginning to form because the month is just starting. And at the moment, you can see that in this area where the yellow arrow is formed, this is what is our THD RSI indicator. And this indicator has a dot right here. This, in my opinion, is a resistance point on the upper side. However, please take note, it is just beginning. So this could eventually resolve itself out and continue the trend, whether up and down according to the smaller time frames. At the same time, you see this yellow dot right here, the yellow arrow right here, pinpointing the blue dot right below it. And this is our ADX indicators. And when this actually happens, and especially in this order, it is high probabilities that price will retest this blue area, which is our THD ATR. So, and again, it is a monthly chart. It's just beginning to form. We need to let it play out. But on the case of the weekly chart for the same S&P 500, you're already seeing a development of what it will most likely happen in the coming week. This past week, you had a red bar, which is a bearish bar, and also you had a down candle right here, a blue but down candle. And most important than that, you can see here very barely a cross. This is a bearish indicator, or bearish ATR. When price breaks support, automatically the trend shifted. So most likely on the weekly side, this trend will continue. Now, at the moment, the only support that you see here, or I'm sorry, the only resistance that you will have at the moment, it is this white line, which is the THD IMA, which is right now at 1,321.68. This line might go up and down depending on the force of price. And again, it is too early to say, just a weekly chart. We got to continue until the next week to see whether this will continue. Please take note that you already have here a red bar, which is basically a trend indicator. And this trend is moving to the downside, to the bearish side. So, and again, the trend is down, and just we need to keep attention to it. On the far right, you can see our daily chart. And if you can see here, this bar, this yellow volume bar, this red volume bar, it's a test to what already has been happening over the last few days on the daily chart. You can see from this point here, almost at the end of September, trend shifted, which coincide with a blue dot in our RSI, and also with a magenta peak on our ADX. These are a top exhaustion indicator. When the market overextend itself, it tends to retrace and retest support or resistance. In this particular case, price pulled back to the blue ATR and then bounced back up again to the red ATR on top, and confirming the downtrend. And that has been the movement of the last almost month and a week or so. So on the weekly chart, definitely the trend is down. This past 5 days, price broke the IMA, and right now the only support that we see at the moment is around the 1,353 levels, and then 1,327, and then the 1,307 levels. So if this trend continues on the bearish side, now here from on the weekly, most likely the S&P will continue to drop even further. Now, to have a better glance on the daily chart, you can see here what the tendency is. You have here, a downside push, and price has done exactly that. This is a very bearish movement right here, and as you can see here on the green lines, I have drawn support where I think price will test, either bounce or break. At this moment, it's too early to know. Unless the buyers come in, meaning these blue bars come in with a blue candle, that will not help much in stopping price to continue his decline. Now on the Nasdaq, very interesting chart. Last week I was talking about that the tendency was like the one in the S&P, to price to test the supporting area, and actually we had it for the first time in almost 4 months, a red candle, red volume bar, and that is indication that definitely was that there was a down movement on price. So most likely here, the red candle, the red volume bar with the blue dot on the ATR, and the ADX basically in this position, is even more powerful. And it is my opinion that price will test support in area right here, the one in 2007 2672. So, and again, this is a monthly chart. It continues in play for 3 more weeks to the end of the month. On the weekly chart, you can see that the downtrend has been already being moved for the last several weeks, and the volume red bar are indication to that. At the same time, you see the downtrend ADX increasing almost at a 45-degree angle, and that is a very powerful indication that trend continues to be strong on the downside. On the daily chart, again, also the same situation. Almost at the beginning of October, trend shifted to the downside here, and it has been gradually declining, has come back and retest the downside and bounce and retest again, and the trend is definitely down. This ADS increase in this angle and this one here are a powerful indicator that the trend will likely continue. However, please take note that on the RSI, this dot basically created a supporting level. So only the RSI comes back and bounce, and price will retest the ATR area. It might as well break it and continue on his downtrend. However, we got to keep note of that here's maybe a supporting point for price from RSI that could resolve into become a potential resistance on the downtrend. And also on the ADX, you got to see here on the green line that's where ADS made his peak, and most likely if this ADX line continue and retest that line, also could be a resistance point from price to continue to go farther down. Now let's see more on the daily chart of the COMEX on Nasdaq for more details. In this chart, I have drawn this green, white, and green line. Here's where I basically highlighted the supporting areas where price will have to test and either break it or will continue or will bounce, and all will depends whether the buyers decide to step in and pull price back up. At the moment, and again, I think he has some more room to go before some resistance is being formed. You can please take note that last Friday, price broke the line, made a new low. However, it closed on the middle side of the bar. So basically, it tested. Might as well bounce in the next couple of days or so. But again, the trend continues down. We will have to follow up next week to see what develops. On the Dow Jones monthly and weekly chart, same situation as the other two charts. You have some resistance on the RSI, you have some resistance on the ADX, and that is a sign of weakness, and in my opinion, and price, the way I see it, will come back and test this ATR with this supporting area. And again, this is a monthly chart. We have a few more weeks to go before the month closes. However, we need to understand that we are in a bearish mode at the moment. The weekly confirms that you have a high ADX on the downside. The arrow line shows that here, and obviously you have here this red cross, which is basically the initiation of downtrend. Price broke strongly on the week that resistance area, and the way it's looking now, it might as well test this Y line, which is a THD IMA. At this point, price could either bounce or continue down to the next supporting level, which is at 1,235. And again, this is a weekly chart. We got to continue and check on a daily basis to see what the trend will take us. On the daily chart, which is the far chart on the right, you can see again, similar to the COMEX chart, price tested support at 1,764, and then it bounced back up and closed over the Y line. I think at this moment, again, it's too early to say. Most likely, price will either bounce if the buyers come back on Monday, and with a strong volume could drive this market up, or if they decide not to come in and the sellers continue, you have two levels here of support that are within reach and could easily be breakable, and that is at 1,520.62, and then at 12,520, and then at 12,032 levels. And again, we have ADX increasing. We have ADX increasing here as well. Let's look for more details on the daily chart. On the daily chart, as I explained before, these Y lines are supporting areas. You can see that at the moment, unless buyers come in, the trend will basically will continue on the downside, which was formed more or less at late September when this red cross started to come into effect. I'd like to remind you that please make sure to wait for the market settles around 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. before entering any position or swing trades. Usually the first 30 minutes of the market is very volatile. I recommend people to let the market settle a little bit and then find the right time frame to entering, either long or short. Make sure that there is no significant market news or reports coming out that could affect your trades. And exercise proper management. I would like to thank you for coming to the THD weekly update. We will be providing you more details in the days to come. Thank you.